Hello everyone and welcome to another video. This time we're talking about, well, you could read it, grading. It's the first time I'm going to, make my feet wet in this area. I did send 3 cards for grading to Card Market Grading, which is not one of the big 3. Those are just unlimited cards, so not too much worth talking about. Don't freak out, I do have this new NVIDIA broadcast feature on, which should keep my eyes on the camera, even if I look at the side. But yeah, I don't know how that works. And I wanted to show this. That's what we were talking about. Graded cards, so cards in slabs with a grade. And what I wanted to do, or what I did do, was I asked myself, where do people grade cards? Old, expensive cards? Like I've compared Welcome to Wrath Alpha, Arcane Rising Alpha, and Crucible Alpha, just the Fables, Legendaries, and some Majestics. And I wanted to know where do I get the informations? How many of those cards are graded? Which grades do people return? So the pop reports, all of that. It's basically also new to me because I did not research too much or read too much about this. Every once in a while I've seen videos about grading. So PCG, Premier Card Grading from Auckland, Australia. Matt Rogers is the co-founder, and that's a new grading service which people are saying should be the new standard for Flesh and Blood cards. Yeah, they've had this article. It's still technically the Collectors Week. So there was also another article from Ben Keel and Saint Hong, where they showed off their graded cards. So all these slabs were pretty much impressing, and I wanted to know more about this topic. I mean, I did know a lot about this topic, but I just didn't, take 2 or 3 hours and research. So the first thing, like I said, PCG is pretty new from Auckland. Then we have PSA. PSA is Professional Sports Authenticator. That is a division of Collectors Universe from Santa Ana in California, where people send their cards, but there's not too many cards from Flesh and Blood being sent there. It's more, like the name says it, sports card. Also, Beckett has been a sports authenticator or grader in the past, and still is a big, or maybe the biggest, and people send a lot of cards there. So that's based in Texas, in Dallas. So 2 in the US, 1 in Australia. I didn't find a big one in Europe where people send their cards. We could almost ignore PSA, to be honest. Let's look what I did. So I made this list right here. Welcome to Wrath first. So these are the Welcome to Wrath first cards I wanted to talk about. I know it's a niche topic. I know it's not a topic which is of the biggest interest of most of the players. So this is just for collectors, and yeah, I know it might just not be of the interest of many of you, but I just thought I would throw this video out. I don't even have a script like I usually don't. Then I took Arcane first, those cards, and some Crucible of War first cards. This is what I started with. I might do this for more cards, also promos. Then I was thinking about, we do not have official pull rates or print runs, so to speak. So if we go on the official homepage to the Collectors Center, where all these official informations are at, and we're going to Welcome to Wrath, that's what we're looking at first. We know there's 16,700 displays ever printed, out of print. So that's all there is worldwide. Yeah. Then we have these odds of finding. Nobody knows about how many fables there are. There are some assumptions, because James White once said there is less Heart of Fyendals first in circulation than there are, I think, Magic's Black Lotus, I don't know, Alpha. There should be 800 Alpha, so maybe he said half, so run about 400. Anyhow, the assumption still is 1 in 40 booster boxes is one fabled. So 16,700 divided by 40 is 417.5. But yeah, we just assume there's 417 Heart of Fiandal first edition worldwide, opened and unopened. So that's the first assumption. You know, they have these numbers like 6, 12, 96. I think this could down to 960 packs. Is that correct? Let's do the math one time. I'm taking my time. Usually I am going to, you know, I am rushing through the topics so that the video stays between 15 and 20 minutes so that people click on it and watch it. And if it's more than 30 minutes, I usually do have the same problem. You know, if there's a topic which is not too much of my interest and it's too long, I might not even watch it, but I'm taking my time here and now. 16,700 booster boxes times 24 packs is 400,800 first Welcome to Rough packs. So if I divide this by 960, I'm sorry, that's wrong. That's totally wrong. I don't know what I've had in my head, but the other way around. 16,700 times 24 divided by... Don't care about it. Just don't mind. Let's just assume it's 470. It could be 400, it could be 420, it could be 400, and I don't know. Down here, I think that has been an accurate number, 1,875, and I think it could be half of this. I mean, it's not exactly half of 75, but this could be half of this, even though we don't know about the Arcane chart. But yeah, let's stay up here. Sorry for jumping. So I've marked this yellow because this whole print run number, I have no idea about any of those. There's no specific source or official source saying how many there are. That's just an assumption. Okay, so I wanted to know how many were graded at PCG. So we have those numbers here. How many were graded at PSA? We have those numbers here. And how many were graded at Beckett? We have those numbers here. There is one that graded at 10 at PSA. PSA seems to be easy to get high grades. That's the first thing I've seen. So I really didn't go in depth too much in the past. And today I've just researched some of those things, and that obviously has been one of the first things I've seen. So PSA grading, you know, yeah, that's basically, the numbers speak for themselves. I do have most of them were graded from Beckett, and then there's PCG, and then there's some with PSA. So PSA is not too much of a competitor. Those two are the big ones, PCG and Beckett, and there were 153 graded in total. We don't know how many of those slabs were opened and then resent to another grader, or resend again to the same grader in order to get a better grade. But yeah, let's just take this number. 153 are in slabs and do have their official gradings, and 417 exists, so 37% have been graded. That's my assumption, or that's the first fact I do think is interesting. And yeah, then I went to the legendaries. I thought, this is pretty much accurate, right? 96 packs for one legendary. That's exactly 4 booster boxes, so 1 case per legendary. And then with a total print run of 16,700 displays, that adds up to 835 legendaries. If all these 5 legendaries are equally spread out, sorry for my English. So there is 835 Scapskin leathers ever printed, and there were 110 sent into these 3 grading companies, where, as you can see, there's only 2 at PSA. There is 57 sent to PCG, and then there's 41 to Beckett. So yeah, 110. That's just 13% compared to the total print run, which I think is accurate. That's the first thing to realize. So the Heart of Fiandra is very expensive, is very scarce, and people, you know, have sent them to grading more often than the Scabskin Leathers, which is a legendary and not too expensive. I mean, it's Welcome to Ra first. It is expensive, but not quite as much as this. So then Tectonic Plating, 181 sent in. So there is a huge difference between those two, and 21%. Yeah, that's kind of the range, right? 20. It seems to be most of those expensive cards. Every 5th copy has been sent to grading. 22% or 105 copies of Mask of Momentum. Keep in mind that's first edition. I might look at the unlimited ones in another video another time, but I've just finished this, and I just wanted to talk about what I've had in my head. And oh yeah, the other thing right here, the grade 9.5. That is PSA. I should add all these here. Sorry, I didn't. I think I did this for the rest of this. Yeah, because let's look at these pages. PCG, it looks like this. I've just opened Crucible of War First Edition and sorted by total grades. So Arknight chart, there's 39 grades, and there have been 19 graded a 9.5 and 20 have been graded a 9. You can also click on show all grades. You can do this with this one as well, but they just show you the top grades so that, you know, 1 through 6 I think are not shown. Yes, it starts with 7 up to 10, pristine 10. Yeah, that's what it looks at PCG. That's what it looks at PSA, the pop report, population report is what it's called. So the Arknight chart, for instance, here there is 1 graded 8, 11 graded 9, and 2 graded 10. So 14 total have been sent in or have already been graded at PSA. And at Beckett it looks like this. The Arknight chart, 208 total. There's 110, pristine 10, and 89 gem mint, 103 9s, 15 8.5s. So they call this black label, pristine gem mint, near mint plus, near mint, near, oh, no, NRMT, sorry, I don't know what that means, but these grades speak for themselves. The special thing about this is they have 2 10s. They have a 10 and then they have a perfect 10. Like if every of these 4 subcategories is a 10, you get a black label. Same thing with PCG. They have 2 10s. They have the pristine, so the perfect 10, and they have another. If you get a card which has a 10 and a 10 and a 10 and a 9.5 of these 4 subcategories, you still get a pristine 10, right? So they also have these 0.5 categories and 2 10 grades, and PSA has, it says 1.5 up here, and the rest it doesn't. I think like Arknight chart, it's totally clear. There's nothing in this row. This plus right here should mean line 2. Half point grades 1.5 through 8.5 only. So I think, I don't know why it did that like this, but I think the if there's a 1 here, that would be a 2.5. If there's a 1 here, that would be 3.5. That's my assumption. I don't know. This is why I've marked this in my spreadsheet here, and yeah, so that's why I've had this yellow. I'm not perfectly sure if there's a PSA 9.5, but don't care about it too much. There's not much being sent into PSA. PSA is obviously, compared to the other two, the grades are too good. That's what I think. So in the future, I could just take Beckett and PCG if I am comparing cards. I know there's a little amount of cards being sent to other grading companies, but it's really even much less than PSA. So let's get into this. I'm just going through the cards right now. 18% of all the Brave Force braces have been sent in. 24% of all Fjandal spring tunics, because, well, this is very popular and very expensive, so it makes sense that the most sent in legendary is the most expensive. It is between all the other legendaries and the fabled. And then I've also looked at the Enlightened Strike Rainbow Foil Alpha. There should be 417, and that's not a perfect assumption. That is just, there is 10 Majestics, 1 per 12 packs in Alpha. So you get 2 Majestics on average out of 1 box. And then there's 10 Majestics in the set. So if there were not foil cards, this would be easy to calculate, but premium foil in this case means rainbow foil, and Alpha has 1 cold foil every box. It's this is getting messy right here. You don't know how many of these foils are Majestics or super rares or rares or commons. So I do not perfectly know how many of these Majestics are inserted in total. I do know 1 foil per box means there's 23 rainbow foils, but how many of these 23 are Majestics? All we know is pull rates, which seem to be exactly the same like the Fables, so I've taken the same number. It is just an assumption, keep that in mind. 417 E-strikes, Alpha, rainbow foil, that's what I think there are. Also Tome of Fjandal. So here we have 28.5% sent in, if this number is correct. And Tome of Fjandal, on the other hand, there is just 14% sent in. And that lines up with the legendaries, because 14 to 28, maybe I should compare more Majestic foils, but 14 to 28%, that's exactly where all these legendaries are. 13 to 24% is which have been sent into grading. So this is also helpful for there when I came to the Crucible of War First Edition Twinning Blade Extended Art Rainbow Foil. I did look this up here in the Collector's Center. I don't like to Google some words on the streets from people in some kind of forums who just spread some numbers. I'd like to stick with the official numbers, and yeah, there's 1 per pack and foil. There's a fabled, we don't know how many, but there's 1 per 240 packs legendaries, and it doesn't state if it's a Fjandal Spring Tunic or a Shiana, if those are exactly the same print run, or maybe there's more Shianas, or maybe there's more Fjandal Spring Tunic. That's what we cannot say, but every 10 boxes there is 1 legendary. That's a fact. It's written here on the official homepage. So yeah, what I wanted to see is Twinning Blade. The Twinning Blade Extended Art only features in first edition. Yes, of course we know that, but it doesn't state, is it short print, how many are there? So I have absolutely no idea about this extended art, how many of these exist. There are no odds of pulling. There's nothing you can find in the internet, of course, because it's so old, so special, so scarce. There's nobody having opened thousands of boxes, because there's only 16,700 worldwide, and it's a mess, basically. I don't know how many of these exist, but I thought maybe this should be in the same range, right? Maybe this should be between 13 and 28%. Or, on the other hand, maybe it's so special, like this fabled, where there are, is more than a third sent in, I have no idea where to put this at. So at the beginning I thought, oh well, maybe 20%, that's for every card, that's the average for every card, so it shouldn't be too far off. I have no value because I have no print run here. If I say there's 100 copies, then that's 37% sent in, because there were 37 sent in with all these 3 grading companies. And if I say there's 200, that's 18.5%. So I would believe somebody if he told me 120 do exist, that's 30% sent in. 230 exist, that's 15% sent in. I don't know. A 200 is very, very much in the average, but I have absolutely no idea. That's why I keep it there. And then also for Courage of Bladehold Cold Foil, the first edition, 1 cold foil every 22 packs. So there's 1.1 something every box. There's a lot of Majestics. The what did I say? Which one is this? Courage. The Courage, because it's the most expensive one of those. The Courage of Bladehold Cold Foil first edition. Nothing said here. This one is short printed, of course. The non-foil, because not everybody needs that many equipments, because you can only have 1 in the deck, and then the reason for short prints is clear. Cold foils, I have no idea how many cold foil Majestic equipments exist, so I don't know. If there's 66 sent in. So if I say there's 240, that's 27%, that's too much. If I say there's 120 480 in existence, that's maybe a little low. So 400-ish would be realistic. 360, maybe 360. I don't know. It's just that's one part of this hobby, this factor of we don't know. Maybe 360. I don't know. But I do believe it shouldn't be less than 10% of all in existence sent in, and it shouldn't be more than 40%. That's really what I my educated guess. Okay, let's look at the rest. The Eye of Ophidia, Arcane Rising, first edition. I mean, there's 417 because there have also been 16,700 first boxes printed. And the pull rate should be the same, round about the same. It's an assumption, but we do know 127 have been sent into these grading companies, and that's 30% of all those Eye of Ophidias in existence, which is less than the Heart of Fjandal. And I do understand, because the first edition, the first set that came out, Welcome to Wrath, might be more of an interest for collectors because it is the first. But yeah, that's interesting to see that there's, almost a third sent in or already graded. So the legendaries from Arcane Rising first, 19.5% have been graded. 20% of Skullbone Cross Reps, 20% of the Grasp of Arknight, 18% of Stormstriders, and 22% of all Arcanite Skullcaps. This is pretty much, it's nice to see this consistency, around 20% for those legendaries. And then there's Command and Conquer Rainbow Foil, less have been sent in. Maybe, so, one thing, I do believe what are the reasons for sending in cards for grading? So we've seen in this article on this, let me just think about it. The first is people want to have it verified, and if it's in a slab, you don't have to negotiate about the condition. It pretty much states what the condition is, and so if you find an interested buyer, then the grade is there and the condition is there, and that's pretty nice for trading cards back and forth or selling cards. Then it does look nice if you collect them. That is also a reason for me to prefer the slabs over the raw cards. And yeah, this pop report is pretty nice, and of course this grading, how many 10s are in existence? There is not a single 10 in Command and Conquer Rainbow Foil. That is a layer which adds another scarcity for collectors. And if you know, there's just, this is the best graded Command and Conquer ever from PCG. So if you want the best, you're probably looking for exactly that. And like Saint said, for instance, if you have a grade 9 and compare it to a grade 9.5, that one is 150% more expensive. So 2.5 times more expensive than the 9. And then the grade 10, I think it's 800%, 8 times that. So yeah, that is, you know, if you have more money than you can spend, and you look for the best Command & Conquer First Edition Rainbow Foil, and you know there's just one, you pay any price, right? You don't care if it's 1,000, if it's 2,000, 5,000. You just get it because you know this is the best one in the world. So, and the more you think about this, the more you know that these pop reports help people know what, I mean, first, so many were printed, so many were sent in, 70% have been graded, and there's just one in 9.5. Maybe you try to get a 10, but I have so many things in my head, sorry. Like maybe people have opened those Majestics and played them, and during playing they have been damaged, and that's the reason why there were not as many Majestics sent in, because you don't use your Stormstriders or a Eye of Ophidia as much when you play, I think, at least the legendaries, like these Majestics. This could be one small factor that some of the Command & Conquer Rainbow Foils have been damaged while playing with them, because back in the days when they came out, they have not been so special and so expensive, so maybe people were a little careless. And well, so the other thing, Command & Conquer Rainbow Foil, maybe. So I think people only send their cards in if they want a good grade, right? That is your goal if you send that in. I know there's people specializing on those plays, what they call them, like get all these graded cards and send in the best ones and hope to get good grades in return. And if they do have good grades, you can easily sell them, auction them up on eBay or stuff, and get a lot more money in return than you have paid for grading and the card. So that is just the assumption that is just the thing I have heard, and I didn't do that yet. I might try this, but all this grading thing is just, I think we're just at the start. And with PCG being promoted now and starting their business professionally, and yeah, I've heard something about a European place where you can send in the cards and they forward it, maybe in a collective package to Australia for grading. That would make sense. I don't know how they handle this with the customs, because if you get this inside another country, you would have to pay the value. But yeah, it's maybe those companies do have special contracts because they do not keep those products and they send them right back. I have no idea. So anyhow, 70% Command & Conquers have been turned, and just 9.6% of all Art of Wars, if that number is right. So 40 have been graded. This is pretty much none at PSA and just 8 at PCG. And yeah, a lot of those at Beckett, 32. And then I also looked at Crucible of War. Sorry, this video is taking longer than I thought, and I know it just interests. If you are interested in this topic, I hope you are not getting bored. That is the main thing I always fear, that, you know, people watch for 2 minutes and then say, oh man, this guy, he should use a script. But I think I'm going to stay with this. So, Arknight chart, the Fabled. There have been 938 printed. Let's look into this real quick. Crucible of War, 37,500 displays for alpha. Usually I do not talk about first edition, right? Because the prices are too high for me. I don't have too many of those cards. I only have Majestics first edition as the most expensive ones. And also grading, I just started with this business, or with this whole topic. It interests me, and it's it's great that I can take the time full time. I mean, it's Saturday, I could do other things. I could, visit my family, do sports or whatever, but I've decided to look into grading because I really, really like this topic and I wanted to see more and learn more. And yeah, maybe I can just share what I've learned here. Legendaries, there's 1 per 240 packs. There's 2 Majestic in the set, Fjandal Spring Tunic and Shiana. So those numbers are pretty precise. And then we were at the Fabled. We don't know how many Fables, but I still stayed with the assumption 1 in 40 packs. Booster boxes, I'm sorry. That should be, 1 per 480 packs. I think this could just be, I think that could be the number. So, 37,500,000 times there were 24 packs, 900,000 boosters have been sold. Divided by 480, that's, I think, could be the number. So 1,875. That is just a perfect number which would fit in here, right? 480 would look good, twice the amount of the legendaries, and so on and so on and so on. So you would get 4 times as many, or no, 2 times as many legendaries, and then the Fable would be as, hold on, that would mean there would be 1,875. Yeah, exactly. That is wrong. I'm sorry. So 900. Don't care about it. That was just a brain fart. Let's continue this. There is 3 grade 10 Arcanite charts, which is pretty good, I guess. There's 3 10 Shianas. Well, but yeah, we are looking at this. 261 have been graded. 28% probably. Shiana just 12%, and Fjandal Spring Tunic, it is a non-foil, 4%. I don't know. Maybe the crew cards have not been too expensive yet, so that people don't think they are too special. But those numbers should be precise. If there's more Shianas than Fjandal Spring Tunic or the other way around, it doesn't matter, because in total those should add up, right? Every 10. So yeah, 3,750 legendaries divided by 2. This should be perfect math. Yeah, 4%. That seems like there's so little sent in. That's crazy. So these are exceptions from the numbers above. 30% for Fables, 20% for legendaries, and those Marvel Majestics. Sorry, maybe, I don't know, 9.5. We were at 20. Well, Enlightened Strength. Well, you see the numbers yourself. I mean, if you know more than I do about any of these topics, any of these things I have asked, or I don't know, just give me some reliable sources and I'll be more than happy to look into that. Other than that, there's 37 graded Twinning Blade EA Rainbow foils. There's 66 Courage of Bladehole Cold foils, and just 79 Fjandal Spring Tunic. And I just wanted to share what I've seen here and what I've had in my head, and it's a pretty nice and good thing to look up, because all these numbers, seeing these black labels, it's so hard to get a black label. It is so hard to get a pristine 10 or a pristine 10 gold. It is just ridiculous, to be honest. It's ridiculous. Those print I mean, yes, you can get a 10 at PSA, no problem. That's what I've learned. But yeah, just wanted to share. I hope you appreciate this. I might just continue this in the future. If nobody cares about, I'm just going to do this for myself. I don't know if I'm going to continue this right now with other editions, other promos, unlimited. We shall see. Or if I'm just going to do this like every 3 months. I'm going to compare this and make a new spreadsheet and then update these numbers, and we should see how fast these numbers increase. I don't know what I'm doing with this, but I'm going to look more into graded cards. You know, it's always great seeing those on social media. I'm not too active. I don't post on Facebook. I am not on TikTok. I am on Instagram, but only with my private account, or with my own account, which does not have too much to do with cards. Maybe I'm going to change this in the future. I don't even do YouTube Shorts. So graded cards, a whole video about graded cards, I can't do that. I don't have too many. I don't have special cards. That's it for today. That's it for now. Sorry for talking nonsense in between. Sorry for all these numbers instead of graphs. I know it's hard to look at this all the time to some people. And yeah, thanks for watching. I'll upload maybe I already did, but there's one more Outsiders opening, which was a good one today. So yeah, thanks. Have a good Sunday and stay safe, stay healthy, have fun in the hobby, and just stay positive. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.